Hey y'all, it's me, the original Paisley. If you're already part of the pack, welcome back. But if you're new to the crew, you know what to do. Hit that like button, make sure you leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. But anyway, yeah, so I'm in the car. I literally just got back from dropping Camille off. It is so early. It's like 6 something. They had like senior sunrise this morning, so she had to be there like at 6 a.m. But anyway, yeah, so it's been a minute. I know. And yeah, I just been having so much going on in my life, but I decided, hey, it's a lot going on in life right now. Why not make a series about it or vlog or whatnot? So as I kind of mentioned, Camilla is going into her senior year. So that's going to be its own series in itself with navigating senior year. So yeah, like she has currently about 5 offers for her flag football, 1 offer for her basketball. So we're going into senior year with like 6 offers already. She has a call actually today with another college, so that might be another offer. And then on Monday, I don't know if it's a meeting or a call, but she has that with the coach as well, so that might be another offer. So we're starting off strong already with offers. Of all the offers, she does have in mind like what school she would pick if these are all the offers she got. I know this is just the beginning, but yeah. So we have that, and then all the things that come along with senior. So like, again, we have to do her senior photo shoot. She did a small senior picture at her school. Like, the school offered like packages for senior pictures. We got the most basic one just for the sake of the pictures for the yearbook, for her to have those pictures and the cap and gown picture. But we're going to do our own real photo shoot with her, like with the whole senior outfit, and she has her little theme she wants to do. So we're gonna, pay for an actual photographer for her real senior picture. So I'm sure that will be vlogged. What else she have going? Oh, also in regards to her athletics, she's has a company that wants to interview her and do an article on her. So we have that Sunday. She goes to do the interview for that on Sunday because they want to highlight her. So that probably will bring in more offers as well once that's posted. Yeah, lots going on. And then of course we got prom that's gonna come. We got, what else comes? Graduation. We just have so much. Her birthday turns 18. We gotta figure that out. It's just a hectic time, right? With senior. On top of all that, baby, my husband is going into the military. Well, he's starting the process. So that will be a separate series that I do of navigating like the process with the military and being a military spouse and kind of behind the scenes. Because like for me, I actually been trying to watch YouTube videos, and there are some good ones on there. There's not many, I would say, though, from people of my race or complexion. And so that's why I probably want to document for myself, because everyone's experience is different. I kind of want to document from my perspective, from other people that look like me, how it goes through. It shouldn't matter, shouldn't be a difference. But like me, we would be going into the military. Specific branch that he's doing is Army. And so yeah, there's some Q&As, but there's nothing like from the very, very beginning. Like a lot of the videos I see start when he leaves to go to boot camp, and like how they navigated boot camp or what they did, or their first deployment or their first move. But like, what about the process before, like the actually getting into the military? So I'm going to do vlogging that, because we're still in the very, very beginning. He just completed like paperwork. He hasn't even taken his ASVAB yet. He goes to do his medical on Tuesday. So I'm gonna do a sit down, separate video sit down to catch y'all up on like the whole military thing. So that will be its own series. Well, actually, this is gonna be that video. So yeah. This is really just the intro. So yeah, this will probably be that first video where once I get in the house, I'm going to do a sit down and tell y'all kind of like so far from the beginning, from when we walked into the recruiter's office to where we are now, and how that process has been, what we've learned, what we haven't learned, some key tips with that. So that's that. And then I'm just going to do it day by day. So like Tuesday, he goes to do his medical and whatever else he does. So kind of updating on that process and kind of like how long it takes from the time you walk into the recruiter's office to the time he gets his date to go to boot camp. Just all the behind the scenes. I am going to document that because I think it's important for spouses or girlfriends or whoever to know like the real, and there's not many videos out that kind of document that process. Like, how long does it take? What's it like? What documents did you need to bring? What things I wish I would have known before I went into the recruiter's office? How was the process? Just, all kind of things. And I'm sure each office or branch may be slightly different. I'm not new to the military life in regards to, I am a federal government employee. I've worked for the federal government for over 15 years. I'm still currently with the federal government, so I kind of know and I work in a management role side of things. So I am familiar with military families, their income, BAS, BAH. I'm the one that calculates their fees. I'm very familiar with that aspect. I'm familiar with, regulations that come down. Yes, I get all that because I'm a manager. So I'm not new to the federal government. I am new to being a military spouse. I do know a lot about the benefits and what military spouses are entitled to and some things, but have I physically been one? No. But I manage military spouses as well as I work with military spouses. So I'm kind of familiar with that. But yeah, so I'm not going to drag y'all in this intro. I'm about to get out the car. I had to stop and get my little pumpkin latte. It's that season, baby. That's what I got, so y'all can see the little ice spice latte. So yeah, I had to stop and get that. I got a little breakfast sandwich for the girls. But yeah, I just dropped Mia off. I'm gonna go up, get set up. The girls are probably awake, get them breakfast. Then we're gonna do this sit down and we are gonna talk about just navigating this process of the military wife. And oh yeah, because yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll talk about it when I get upstairs. I'll be back. All right, y'all. I'm in the house now. I'm actually in my daughter's closet because I'm trying to organize her little stuff. Because that's the other thing I did not tell y'all. On top of everything that else is going on, is we're moving. Yes, we have like literally a month left before we move. And from the look of this closet, do it look like we're moving? No. So I'm trying to do little things here and there in the midst of everything else that's going on. But this series is not the moving series, even though we will talk about moving too, probably here and there. We talking about navigating this journey of becoming a military family. So if y'all don't know, my husband, he also works for the federal government. He works in, he's like, when you go on base, the gate guards that are there, he's an armed gate guard, a sergeant there. He works already for the Army. I've worked for the Navy, but I've worked for the Army as well. So I've kind of worked both branches. But he currently works for the Army. And so, yeah, I think he just made a decision that, he has worked for the Army. He has his federal government experience. Why not get all the benefits that the Army has to offer, going in full time? And originally I was a little hesitant, but, as you get older and you mature, you realize that, decisions that you make in life aren't really no more for like you only, especially we have 2 young kids. I just have a 1 and a 2-year-old that I would just had back to back. So like the decisions we make now have to be for their future as well. And so after discussion, we did decide that, what, I'm okay with that. I have my 15 years in the federal government. I've kind of worked in my career. I'm okay with navigating to being more of the Army wife, stay-at-home mom type of vibe. My oldest is, like I said, it's her senior year, so she's actually going to be going off to college. So that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't have wanted to do it previously, but she's going to be in college now. So yeah, this would be the time. So that's a little backstory of like how we came to this decision. So we went into, I would say 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, we just decided, hey, let's go to speak to a recruiter. So we went and spoke to a recruiter. They got his information. We asked questions. Some of the questions we asked were, because again, we're doing this much later. So he's 37. So did he meet the age requirement or did he need a waiver? The Army said that, well, the recruiter said that technically the Army takes people up to 42 years old, sometimes 43. So he didn't need a waiver for age, so he met the age. That was one question. Secondly, my husband does have some tattoos, and so I'll insert like a picture of him right here. Yep, that's him. So he does have some tattoos. He has one on each side of his neck. He has one on each hand, and he has one on each arm. I mean, upper arm, and he has one on his forearm. So he's tatted. So we asked about their tattoo policy. And so he will have to get a waiver for certain ones. So we'll tell you how that process goes. So we asked about the tattoo policy. So he did say that about the waiver. Dependents do play a factor. There is a rule in regards to like dependents. I think like typically you know, if you have more than 2 or 3, I forgot, then you probably have to get a waiver for that. So for him, he would need a waiver for that because I'm technically one dependent. He has his 1-year-old. He has his 2-year-old. I come with the stepdaughter. Well, his stepdaughter, my oldest daughter, that's going to be a senior. And then he also has a son that is the same exact age as my daughter. That's a senior. Now for my, both his son and my daughter literally turned 18 in March, a few months. So they won't technically be dependents no more when they hit 18. However, because we're going in before they're 18, we will claim them. I don't know about my daughter yet, if we're going to claim her, because technically, you know, she has a dad and, you know, her dad pays, like, she doesn't really have an obligation in regards to the military aspect. So we're deciding if we're going to put her on the waiver or not. But that's a good thing to know, is that the number of children you have, you know, could be a determining factor too. And you'll have to just get a waiver for if you have above the amount. Our waiver shouldn't have a problem getting paid getting approved, because one, it would probably be a little bit difficult if he was a single soldier, because you would have to then get like consent from like someone who is taking legal obligation to take care of the kids when you're getting deployed and stuff like that. And there's other ramifications of like making sure that they can get to where the kids are. And it's a little bit difficult if you got 5 kids, you're a single mom trying to go in, you got to have somebody over 5 kids, you know. But for me, he's married, so one, I'm there, so I would have the kids. So that's easy. And then 2, really, it will end up only being 3 because his son turns 18 in a couple months, and so does my daughter. So they technically wouldn't be dependents anymore. So yeah, the dependent thing. So we asked about that. We asked about the ASVAB in regards to the required score. The guy shocked me. He said actually like the get in, you just have to get a 32 or 35 or something like that. So, but of course, like for certain MOSs, which is considered, you have to learn like the military language, but MOS, which is like considered your career field that you pick, require different scores. So for him, he's probably going to go into his MOS as a military police, which each MOS is associated with like a number. So like there's 31B, 30, like there's different numbers. And I'm sure you can Google like the number associated with the MOS, or you can probably Google the MOS chart and like each number. But yeah, so he's going into military police. One that aligns with his career. He's been special police. He works for the federal government as an armed gate guard. So he takes the same training as the military police. He actually trains with them at the FBI headquarters when they have to go recertify for their gun. So his 3 years of experience with the federal government plus his civilian sector experience should count for something. And yeah, that's just always been his field. So he's leaning towards military police, but again, it's all dependent upon his ASVAB score, and based on his score will determine what MOSs he will choose. He is open to other ones as well. So we kind of were discussing what other ones he may be open to. Because he is kind of thinking like, you know, he's been working in, you know, military police, which he's always had physical jobs because he's a very fit guy. So he's always has jobs that require like, you know, physical. And he's like, you know, as you get older, that can eventually wear and tear on your body. So he's kind of thinking like, maybe does he want to go in a field that's more laid back and less physical? So I guess we'll make that determination once he takes his ASVAB and we see the options. We'll weigh the pros and the cons, and we'll maybe talk to the recruiter, get some feedback. The recruiter that we have is very knowledgeable. The girl recruiter that I'll tell you that we worked with, she has 11 years of experience, so she's She give a lot of insight and stuff like that. But yeah, so those are the questions we asked that day. And then we filled out some paperwork in regards to, like, I guess the application or initial information. And then that was it, the first day. Then like, I think the second or third day after that visit, the recruiter emailed over like a packet. And again, all of these forms have numbers in the federal government. It's going to be like the 408 or the SF52, or, you know, each form is a number. Everything in the federal government is a number. Your MOS is a number. Your form is a number. It's just numbers. Everybody's a number, even as you a number. So he sent over the paperwork, the form, and in my future videos, I'll try to pay attention to exactly the number form so I can actually quote exactly what it was. But he sent over the form, and that form more so, and it was already kind of like filled out a little bit. So my husband just had to review it, and it kind of just had his address, his name, just certain information about him. There was some errors on the form that we had to send back to get corrected, like the unit number was incorrect. Little things, it wasn't big, but of course things that we want to pay attention to, because, you know, a little discrepancy like that could affect the process. We sent that back. So then the next visit was set to be his fingerprints. Yeah, the next visit was set to be his fingerprints and pictures of his tattoos. That's what it was supposed to be. Fingerprints and pictures of tattoos. So that was literally set for a week later, which I think we got to end up pushed back a little bit more because something came up. But so we went to that. When we showed up, the recruiter that we've been working with and communicating with wasn't present. It was another recruiter. That's the female recruiter that I referred to. And like I said, she's very knowledgeable, but we're just kind of thrown off because it wasn't communicated to us that, you know, we were going to work with someone else. And we just didn't really want, like, them to give all this information to him. And then we didn't feel like we wanted to have to do the same step over with her. So that caught us off guard. But anyway, we ended up meeting with her. Because the guy wasn't there. He did do his fingerprints that day, except they weren't able to get submitted. So it was like a waste of time doing that. But he was able to complete, I guess, all this other paperwork that he needed to do before he goes off to his MEPS, which is, what is MEPS again? MEPS is something, y'all can Google that or chat GPT it. I'm trying to think, what is his MEPS? We talked about this. I don't know if that's his physical. No. I don't know. But whatever it is, next is MEPS. He goes to MEPS. So anyway, he was able to complete all this paperwork that needed to get done before he goes to MEPS. And she was also able to submit his medical stuff so that he can get cleared for getting that appointment. So that when he goes to MEPS, which is his next thing to do, he will be able to, he'll be able to utilize the whole day versus going there and having to schedule and come back again for the medical. He could just take everything in one day. So we did all that with her. He did do his fingerprints, but like I said, for some reason the system wasn't letting him send. So I don't know. He might have to go back and do that again. And then she did do the tattoo thing. So the tattoo waiver thing, it's pretty much she just asks each tattoo and like its meaning or whatever. So like on this hand, it's Superman. She'll kind of do a description like it's small, it's medium, whatever. The other hand, he has initials, and he has to explain like the meaning behind the initials or anything. So you have to just give a description of each tattoo, and I guess like that gets sent up for approval. I thought they were supposed to take a picture with him in the uniform to see like if like the collar covered the tattoo or if the sleeve covers the tattoo. But maybe she didn't do that because like the tattoo is so big. So like you don't need to put the uniform on to know that the tattoo is still gonna be visible. Same thing with his neck tattoo. Like he has the word wisdom going from his ear all the way down. So no matter what kind of collar you have, whether it's a turtleneck or not, it's going to show. So like there's no point of having to take pictures in it. So maybe that's why she didn't do that. But anyway, so that was the second visit. He did the fingerprints, he did more paperwork, and he did his statements for his tattoos. So the next thing coming up is next week, Tuesday. So I feel like just so you get a time span, every week he has another appointment. Now, again, y'all can go quicker depending on your availability. He still, like I said, works full-time for the federal government, so he has to do it around his days off. So now his next appointment is next week, where he'll go to his MEPS appointment. I think that's where they do. I really want to Google what that means first. So hold on, let me get what MEPS stands for. Hold on. All right, y'all, so I'm back. So I did look it up. So yeah, it's the medical part. So MEPS is like his medical, well, they'll like look at his medical history. They'll do a physical exam. They'll do his vision, his hearing, height, weight, blood, urine, drug tests, all of that. So that's what he has coming up next week that he's going to go do. And I think MEPS is also where eventually you'll choose your like career choice, but he hasn't even taken the ASVAB yet. So like, I wish he would have taken the ASVAB so he could do that as well while he's there, but here nor there, that's that. Now with MEPS, usually they will transport you there because it's going to be on a military installation. But because my husband has base access himself, he's going to drive there. And so, yeah, just behind the scenes to know. So if they transport you, of course, the only downfall is that you'll have to stay there and literally wait for everyone else that's in your group to finish. And then you have to wait for when like they're available to come back and pick you up. So you could just be sitting like all day. Like if you go first, you're going to just be waiting for everyone else, depending on who else is all going there with you the same day, for everyone else to finish. And then when they're finished, then the van or whatever that brought you there has to go back to come to pick you up and bring you back to the recruiting office that you all met at. But because my husband has base access, he's just going to drive himself. So the plus with that is that when he's done, he can just leave. He don't have to sit and wait for everyone. So yeah. And it actually works out because the base that they're having him go to for his MEPS is literally like 10 minutes away from where we live. So it just makes more sense versus we have to drive all the way to the recruiting office that we've been going to, which is literally, I don't know, 30 minutes from where we live, to then go have him ride the bus to go to MEPS, have to go back to the recruiting office to drive back home. So yeah, so he's driving to MEPS. So after that appointment, I'm not going to that one. So I don't think. Now, I don't know. My husband may have me go, but I don't think I'm going to that one. It's just physical stuff, so it's nothing I really need to go to. But I'll get his feedback on that, and then I'll update you on what he says, like the pros, the cons, how it went, what he had to do, etc., etc., etc. The other thing that I do want to bring up is that when we went to our second visit, which is when we met with the lady recruiter, we had time to Google from the time we initially went to the recruiting office to our second visit where we did the fingerprints, to Google some stuff. So we did Google and learn that there is a program called the ACASP. I can't tell you what it stands for. It's like the Army something program. But pretty much it's like it gives people with civilian federal experience the opportunity to enlist advanced, so like higher than an E1. And so we did look into that because, like I said, my husband has worked now for the federal government for over 3 years in the field that kind of closely relates to the MOS that he's going into. Like the duties are pretty much aligned and the same. So he wanted to see about eligibility for that program where he could come in at either E4 or, you know, something like that versus coming in as an E1 because of his experience. What we did learn from the recruiter is that that is a valid program, but it's not open to every single MOS. So, and the list is public, so you can actually Google ahead of time and see what jobs or MOSs are participating in that program, so that you can see like if that's an option for you. We did look to see if there was anything close, so it may not be like military police, but it could be like, I don't know, military investigator, which is kind of similar, or, you know, something that's still in that same realm where his work experience would correlate with that job. But yeah, the closest thing they had was a firefighter, and they had some type of special something on there, but yeah, it wasn't anything that popped out. So fortunately, his federal government experience like won't count for nothing. But she did give other options. She said that, you know, if he wanted to come in at a higher rank or something, there's like certain trainings that he could do beforehand so that he could come in at a higher rank. So that is something that we will be getting from her. So she's a very hands-on recruiter in regards to giving all the information. Also, she did give some good YouTube links in regards to like studying for the ASVAB, because she did ask like, you know, what parts of the ASVAB is he more concerned about. And I think he has said like math isn't his strongest subject. So she did give some like YouTube video recommendations that kind of help with understanding the ASVAB and how to score well, and some tips and tricks. So that was very helpful. And what else? Oh, she did also share like for his MLS, like the main part that like he needs to score well on, because like certain MOSs, you know, while they take the whole ASVAB score, certain MOSs need you to score at like a certain level for certain areas. So like, for instance, like military police, which is what he's going into, the technical skills section of the ASVAB, or skills technical section of the ASVAB, is very important for people trying to go into that field. So if you want to qualify for that field, that's a key point in regards to the whole ASVAB, but for sure that section for sure is an area that you want to kind of make sure that you are knowledgeable in and, you know, confident in. But yeah, I feel like I've been rapping the whole time, so I think I've caught y'all up to where we are today. So like I said, the next thing that we have coming up is his MAPS appointment, and I will let y'all know how that goes. See y'all. That's corny, but I'm trying to think of an outro. I'm trying to think of like something outro to do. Bye-bye. See y'all later.